Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Welcome to this mess making and building a journal part 2. Part 1 is linked below, but don't worry, this video is a standalone video in which I'll share tutorials for 5 simple mess make projects. This will help you build your go-to box filled with ready-to-use pieces so you can whip up journals quickly and effortlessly, just like we did last week, especially for the upcoming gifting season. And again, just like in part 1, each time we craft something, a sample goes straight onto the page, while the rest goes into a special box ready for future journal making. Once again, I'd love for you to join me. Let's get started. But the first idea of the day, we're going to dive into our scraps of paper. And who doesn't love a scrap busting project, right? And we're going to pull out pieces that are somewhat big, like this. Okay, I have a few bits of paper pulled out, and now we're going to fold them in half. Now that they're folded in half, I'm gonna go ahead and just check. They're all pretty good, but some of them are like uneven and stuff, so I'm gonna give them a little trim. I think only these two need a trim. And in true mess making style, they're all different sizes, and I have a total of 10 pieces. Next thing I'm going to do is ink all the edges. I know this is boring. For some people, I suppose it's not boring, but it's gotta be done. All right, that didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would. And as you can see, because I'm using scraps, some are single-sided, some are double-sided, none of that matters. I inked the front, the inside, but not the back, because the back is not going to be visible. All right, next thing we're gonna do is grab some paper. Don't overthink any of this stuff. Grab 4 sheets at a time, or maybe let's do 2 sheets at a time. I'll take my first folded scrap here and mark where I need to cut. So I'm going to be leaving space up the top and down the bottom as well. You'll see in a moment. All right, 2 sheets, fold in half, and you have probably noticed that I cut this way, so I have 2 long sheets. So now when I pop this in here, you can see that it's sticking out. Perfect, that's what I want. Now I'm going to make this into a little booklet so you can bind, you can staple, or you can sew. So I just went straight down the middle fold there, just a straight stitch. We're making it nice and simple and quick. Now I'm going to fold these in, but they might be too long, so I'm just going to trim. Excellent. And now fold whichever way you want. You can even trim all the excess off as well. I mean, I'm trying to go for an interactive kind of a thing, something a bit more fun, which is why I left those pages long. Now, next thing you need is some type of a base. What I'm going to use is these large playing cards. They're not very good quality. They're very cheap playing cards from Kmart. If you don't have large playing cards, that's fine. You can use cardstock. You can use scrapbook paper. Anything that has a little bit of sturdiness. You might want to go for something like this, pretty scrapbook paper. That would also work. Anything that you have in your stash that's kind of bigger than your piece. I'm going for the playing cards. So I've chosen a playing card I'm going to use. I'm trying not to overthink any of this stuff. So I went with this one. I inked the edges, and it's going to look something like this. If you have smaller booklets, it all depends on how large your scrap pieces are, then you might see more of the playing card if that's what you're using. But at this point, I'm not worried about any of that stuff. I just want to make a lot of projects very quickly, and I think they're going to look good whatever I do with them, right? So even turning it to the back like this looks perhaps even better. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is sew around the playing card. Again, optional, of course. Here is my sewn playing card, and it already looks so much better than it looked before. And look at this. I can't decide now which side do I like better, this one or this one. I think I like this side better, to be honest with you. So here's what I mean. You might even be better off using just scrapbook paper rather than playing cards. So because I chose a playing card, I'm just going to go with this side. And what I'm going to do now is glue this whole thing right on top of the playing card. Actually, I just had another idea. I'm going to add a piece of twine, and I'm not going to do that on all of them, just wherever I feel called to, I suppose. Pop it there in the middle, go in with a little bit of masking tape, and now I'm going to apply glue all over and glue that baby down. That's looking pretty good. Now, before I tie a little bow here, I have a box of labels and things. Like I take them out of 6x6 pads and find all sorts of, you know what I'm talking about, these kinds of things. I like to have them all in one place. So when I need a little something, I can just go to my box. And now I'm just gonna not overthink again. Oh, what's this one? Oh, I think I might go with that one. I'm gonna glue it down right there in the middle. And now we can go ahead and we can do little corners here and like embellish more, but I'm mess making, so I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So I'm just gonna tie that bow and I'm gonna call this done. And of course I have an idea on how I will use this in my journal. And since I'm mess making and building a journal at the same time, I'm going to show you what I'm planning to do with this. I'm not just planning to like tuck it in or pop it into a pocket, which of course we can do. I have a different special thing in mind for this, even like we can glue it down or we can do whatever we want. But I'm going to make all of these first, and then I will choose the one that goes with the colors I'm already using in that journal. I'm already thinking something like this. We'll see. So because I'm mess making, of course I'm going to do all of this speeded up or off camera because you've already seen how it's done. It's so simple and easy, right? I'll only come back if I have some more new ideas. But because I'm mess making, I am not going to complete one and then move on to the other one. What I'm going to do is do the pages in all of them. Then I'm going to do all the inking and sewing around the cards. Then I'm going to be gluing all of them, so it's mass production kind of thing, rather than make one, finish it completely, move on to the next one. I know that makes sense. I won't even ask you if it makes sense. So I have this left over from the previous one. I'm just going to check. You know, I don't mind having the holes, so I might even use this piece in this one. And that way, truly nothing goes to waste. So first, I prepared the pages. All the pages are now ready and none of them are bound. So I'll be taking this whole bunch to my sewing machine. I might do one on screen just so you can see. Every booklet has 2 pieces of long pieces of paper folded in half. I take it to my sewing machine and I sew it open like this, but on this side, so that I have the nice stitch on the outside. And then I do all of them one by one. Here's something to keep in mind. If you have your stitches very, very close together, like I've got here, then your paper can very easily rip. So we don't want that. So make sure that your stitches are further apart. I'll just show you on my machine. So this here is the stitch length, and this is the one that I've just used. But with the one that I like to use is between 2 and 3. All right, let's mass stitch. I'm going to use this as an example, and then I'll do the rest off camera. So I want to open it, but hold the pages all snug in that spine. Then turn it around to the right side or the outside, the side that's going to be visible. Position your crease in between this notch so you can see your crease, and start sewing not from the top. Just go down a little bit and just sew straight down. You can backstitch if you want. And then again, stop before you get to the end. Or not, totally up to you actually. And here's what we have. I don't know why I don't like starting from the top. It's just a personal preference. We're going to chop this off. See how the inside is looking a little bit ugly? That's why I wanted a nice stitch on the spine. That's why we're sewing this way and not this way. Okay, now that's done, we're going to fold, crease, or score or burnish, whatever the word is, and move on to the next one. and I'll do the rest off screen. So just to show you, I want to make sure that everything's nice and snug and straight and the pages are where they're supposed to be, and then turn it around. So next, and so on. Oh, would you look at that? They are all now sewn, and now I'm going to take all of them one by one, and I'm going to chop the threads off. And of course, we shall keep all the threads in our thread jar, because who doesn't have one, right? And now we are going to take our little booklets one by one and burnish. Now that they're all burnished, we shall start folding the pages inside. And if they're too long, we're going to trim them down. Mess making projects like this is interesting and exciting because you get to do all the thinking. Well, I've done it for you in this time around, but you probably add your own flair to your project. So you do all of the thinking on the first one that you make, and then the rest you can put a YouTube video on, a podcast on. You don't have to make any decisions. You know what you're doing. You're just repeating the steps. And plus, if you have 10, I'm making 10, it doesn't get too boring. If you're making 30 or 50, forget it. You're going to get bored. Trimming the long pages that don't fit, and no thinking aloud. As long as they fit inside the booklet, perfect. As I'm trimming these pages down and folding them, I'm kind of thinking that sometimes we can get stuck on trying to make the thing fabulous. But I just want to give you a reminder. For example, this. It doesn't look, when you look at this, it doesn't look great. I mean, the hearts are going not the right way, and there's holes in this paper, and it just, there's nothing special about it. We're just folding pages down. We're not sewing anything. We're not inking the edges of the pages, I mean. So it's not very exciting, is it? However, when you see the finished project, and especially once I put it into a journal and show you how I'm planning to use it, then you see that those minor little details of the pages inside, they're not so important. It's the whole that matters. But if you want to spend time on these pages, you can have pretty pages in there. You can have some sewing here. You can add some tabs. You can do stenciling. You can go to town. But when making mess-made projects, you just want it to be real quick. And that's why I keep saying no overthinking allowed. This is a reminder to myself as well. Because I was thinking as I'm folding the pages, I could have woven some yarn or something, or some pretty ribbon through the holes. Yes, I could have, but I didn't. And I'm not gonna. Here we go, booklets are ready, pages are folded. This can be, you can call this done. Put it in your box of ready-made things for journals. But you know the drill. I'm gonna continue. So the next thing I'm going to do is choose 9 cards. I'm not even gonna like try and match them or anything, and see, maybe I don't like the picture ones. I'm not sure. I might even look how much better that looks. I'll probably do a few this way. Anyway, so now what I'm going to do is take the cards and ink the edges and sew around all of them, and I'll be right back. And here we go. I am ready to move on. And as you can see, I have decided to keep some on the other side. Like for example, this one. I think this definitely looks better than this. They all look all right. I mean, they both look good. Okay, the next step is adding the twine. Now, I did say I'm not going to add twine to all of them, but I changed my mind. I'm going to add twine to all of them. However, I did make one with no twine and no closure, and it's perfectly fine just as it is. No twine. So totally up to you. But of course, I'm going to go with the twine. Now, you might be thinking, oh, but this twine looks better on this one. And maybe I'll do like a ribbon on this one. But I suggest stick with one thing so that you can smash them out in no time. Don't think what's going to look, yes, maybe this would look better on this one than this one, okay? But I'm just going to stick with one type of twine or material. I'm going to go with my first choice so that I'm not getting overwhelmed with too much choice or too many options. All right, so for this step, I'm going to stack them all up and do one by one. Twine, a bit of glue, twine goes there in the middle, bit of masking tape, and then glue on the whole thing, including over the masking tape, and glue it down. Or should I say, glue it down. One is done. Next. Now that that step is done, the next step, of course, is the little book plate. I might do 2 at a time. And again, no overthinking, maybe a little bit, not too much. All right, I'm starting to overthink, so I'm just gonna go with this orange one. Oh, I'm gonna go with this one. Glue it down and tie a bow. And here we go. Pretty, pretty, very pretty indeed. All right, and so on. We are officially done with this project. I just want to show you all the cards up close, and I have to say, the playing cards that I turned upside down, I love. I love this, probably better than the right way up. So I love that red. And yeah, this is what we have, following the exact same steps for all of them. This one's got kind of a slanted little tag there. And it's a gorgeous element. I'm about to put it into my journal. I just kind of wanted to show you all of them at once. I have 10 projects made, and then there's this one as well that doesn't have a closure. So if you want to skip the closure, perfectly fine. It still does the job, and you can even use one of these bulldog clips to hold it shut. Or if you're going to glue it onto a page, which is what we're going to do next, but you may wish to put ribbon underneath the card and then glue it down, and then you'll have the closure that way. Since I am building a journal as well as mess making, and if you watch the first video in this series kind of a thing, you will know about this, what do we call it, journal in progress, I suppose. And now I'm going to start building my second signature. So in this video, I'm starting afresh, and I just want to choose which one I like better. I think I like this better because the colors kind of go with what I've already got in the journal. I'm not going for a particular theme or color scheme, but it seems like I have a lot of turquoise going on, and it was completely unintentional. If you watch the last video, you will know kind of how organically this signature here grew. Look at this. It seems like I have all of those colors, so I'm going to go with this one because that's got that kind of color. And what I'm going to do with this is the following. I'm just thinking, okay, so what I want to do is basically a belly band. So this is an element that opens up. I will demonstrate when it's done, but I also want it to be a belly band, so I can either glue the top and bottom down and have that kind of open, but it is quite wide. So now I'm thinking on gluing the sides and then having this for like a bookmark or something. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so we will do it this way. And now, of course, I'm already thinking about the next project that we can do. And I did mention a bookmark. And I also have so many ideas in my head of all the things that I want to do, which is probably a good idea that I'm going to do this like a series. And we can do 5 or so projects for each video. Last video was 8, I think, around 8 ideas. But I kind of start off with, I know what I'm gonna make in this video, and then all these other things come as I'm making. So now, naturally, the natural progression from here would be a bookmark, okay? I have this on my desk. It's not long enough, but you know what I mean. We just made a belly band. So what are we gonna do now? Should we go with the idea that I was planning to do next? Or should I go with the bookmark idea? Here's what I think. Since the next idea also utilizes our scraps, I'm first going to use the strips. Oh, these are scraps, so the long strips. And I'm gonna look for, oh, this would be perfect. Look at this. Look at this. Well, I just have to follow that idea. And then we will do, for the third idea, we'll do the thing that I have in my mind. But for now, we're mess making. It could be bookmarks. It might not be. Might be something completely different. Look, I'm just pulling out some strips. And I know we all have these. We all have offcuts and leftovers. All right, first I'm going to work on this one because this is the one that's going to go into the journal that I'm building. I don't just want to make a bookmark. There, I said it, because everyone knows how to make a bookmark. I want these ideas to be something a little bit different. Like, for example, everyone can make a booklet like this, but we want to add a little bit of flair, I suppose, you know, where you open it and then you open it this way and then you open it this way and then it's a belly band. We can all come up with these ideas. I don't know what I'm trying to say, so I'll just keep working. I'm trying to say I'm going to try and make something a little bit different. Maybe something we haven't seen before. Is that possible even? All right, so here's the thing. I had an idea floating in my mind, which I abandoned, but I'm going to tell you what I was going to do. I was going to do like maybe eyelets on top and on the bottom, and then run some elastic through and then go with something like that. I'm not sure where it was taking me, but I changed my mind. So what I'm going to do is something fun, but not brand new, like it's been done before. And it can be done quickly, and that's what we want for this video. So I'm going to glue this on top of my paper over here. Excellent. That's glued. And now I shall fold. Perfect. And now I shall fold again. There's probably an easier way to do this, but this is the way it's happening today. We could like measure and score and all of that, but we don't want to do that. Well, I don't want to do that. I just want to make it as simple as possible. And now this little piece is going to get cut off, or maybe it can get ripped off because we're not being precious. And there is a little bit of extra business going on here, so I'm going to cut that off. What do we have? Now the question is, oh, actually, you know what I think would look really cool? To ink each crease. I think it will look better. I think we are onto something here. I have done like a bookmark that opens up before, but different than this. Personally, I've never done this. I have never done this. This would be cool. This is cool for like reading, a reading bookmark. I can make one for myself and keep track of all of the books that I have read. I think that's a cool idea. Or, you know, write little quotes, but usually when I'm reading books, I find lots of things that I underline and want to remember. This wouldn't be enough. So this would be cool to keep a track of like a reading log, 2026 reading log. That is such a great idea, if I may say so myself. But let's call this element, at least this page, done. So what we have here, let's say you're flipping through a rather large journal, which this is going to end up being. It's going to be a large journal. And then you come to this spread, and then you have, let's say you have this, and then you have this, and then you have little book pages that open up. Oh, fancy. I mean, I could have, again, I keep thinking about weaving through some yarn and stuff, but I shan't. All right, and then we keep exploring, and we have this thing which we've just made, and it opens up and all of that. All right, so I'm gonna mass make some of these, and because it's a rule. It's a rule. We must mass make. We're not just making a journal. And plus, I've also pulled all of these out. Of course, I'm not going to bore you because you already know how to make it. I might make one more on screen. But there is a great Christmas present idea. Not just on its own, of course, but if you, let's say, gift somebody a book, you can find really cheap books. And then you have a handmade little bookmark like this. And you can type up on the computer, reading log 2026. And then on the inside, you can put some stickers, or you can also type up book log, or I'm sure you will come up with lots of ideas with that little spark of inspiration. Well, I am feeling the spark of inspiration from creating this, so you know what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make some more. You know what? Stay with me here, because maybe we can make variations. They don't all have to be exactly the same. Perhaps let's do, and since I've got two of the same, I'm gonna do a different type of a bookmark now. I need them both to be exactly the same width. Perhaps it doesn't even matter if they're the same width, but that's what I'm going for. And of course they have to be the same height. So what I'm gonna do is grab another piece of paper. I'm not choosing any of my special papers or anything like that. And let me see if I can remember how to do this. I do remember how to do this, but I don't think I want to do it this way. So essentially it would be like a bookmark that opens up, but instead of using scraps, I would first fold my page and then cut down a strip that fits here, and same on the other side. Does that make sense? And then you have a bookmark that opens up. But since I have my thinner strips here, think, Natasha, think. Okay, look, you just simply can't go wrong in the world of journal making. And besides, this is how ideas are born. So at this point, I don't know what I'm actually doing, but I hope it's going to turn out good. So what do we do with the other one? The other one we glued here, and then we just went folding that way, but I've already made a fold here. So now I'm thinking, okay, let's do this. All right, why not? And then what's gonna happen here? Okay, we're gonna have a shorter fold, that's all. What's going on? Okay, perfect. I don't know why I was so worried. It's gonna work out just fine, just like it always does. Glue that baby down. So essentially this is what we're doing. I'm just gluing strips. I'm gonna know for next one. Just gluing strips to the, to each side. And now that wasn't difficult, but it looks like it was a little bit difficult, but I've worked it out now, so now I can show you properly how to do it. If you haven't worked it out yourself already, and we're gonna keep this. We're gonna keep this for the next little project. What is it? It can be whatever you want it to be, but it's pretty much a bookmark that opens up. I wish you could see properly how it looks. The weather is very gloomy, so it's kind of looking a bit drab, but from here we can go ahead and decorate and all that kind of stuff, but I'm mess making, so this is gonna go into my special box with no decoration. And when I'm making the journal, then I will decorate. For example, in this case, no need for decoration, but you know what? Looky look, let's make it just a little bit more special. A little sticker, and it changes everything. Looks good, even though a little sentiment would be nice, a secret message or something in this journal I'm building anyway. All right, like I said, I'm not going to embellish this. Now this one has exactly the same papers on both ends. They don't have to be exactly the same. We're just using up our strips. We can have completely different strips of paper. So what I'm going to do, the thick cardstockish paper, I am going to make this type of a thing where it doesn't have a backing, just like this. I actually quite like this one. I might even like it better than this one, if I'm being quite honest. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna go and do it, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. All right, listen, a new idea was born, and this idea, it's like a third idea from the second idea, and this is going to go into the journal I'm building as well. So let me show you what it is. We're following the same kind of steps. So we have the A4 paper turned sideways like this, and we have a long strip, this 12 by 12 piece of paper. I'm not going to cut it down. What I'm going to do is exactly the same thing I've done so far. It's just another cool element, interactive element for the journal I'm building, and also for the mess making stuff. So we're doing the same thing over here. Glue that strip of paper down and start folding. I'll turn it this way. So fold one way, now fold the other way. We're doing like an accordion fold, one way, the other way, and then the other way. You know what we're doing. Until we get to the end. This last fold is going to be shorter, that's fine. And this is what we have. So far what I did is I would cut this off. As you can see on this one, I will cut it off, and then we have that bookmark that opens up. But for this one, what we're gonna do is first, I think inking makes the difference. It just looks better when we have these separate sections. All right, the inking business is done. Let's refold. And now I'm gonna go to this because we're building the second signature, or we're building a journal. And I'm gonna go over here. There's gonna be pages in there. And then I'm gonna do this. Actually, you know what? The papers are exactly the same size. So I'm gonna fold this down instead of cutting it off. Oh, such innovation. It's not really. Then I'm gonna do this kind of thing. Yeah, now we're being a little fancy. Oh, we're being so fancy today. And now we're gonna go, oh, just like that. We're gonna get maybe a fancy little paper clip. Oh, I don't like that one. Maybe I'll go with this one. Something like this. Doesn't look so pretty now, does it? But bear with me here. Bear with me. How can we make this look pretty? And here we go. That's easy. Just a bit of a stitch and a bit of a sticker. And done and dusted. So would it be cheating if I call this idea number 3? Because we're kind of just building on that second idea, aren't we? So obviously this is going to be a pocket because we're fun like that. And as you can see, this is a kind of a one thing leads to another situation. So if you ever cheated on it and they say, I don't know how it happened, one thing led to another, well, you can always say, darn it, happens to me all the time in crafting. I get it, honey sugar plum. Come here, all is forgiven. I'm just kidding. Oh, such fun. Okay, excellent. So we have an element here, pulls out, opens up, you know the deal. We're not gonna, and then when you get to this page in a journal, the clip is removed. This can come off, this can open up, this can open up. We have a tag. I love interactive things in journals. Lots of things to explore. That's just my love. That's my love. So I'm quite happy with this. And then on this side, it looks kind of like that. It can be another little tuck spot, whatever. So we shall leave this. So I mess made 4 of them. I know that's not really mess making, but it is what it is. I left 2 of them that open up like this so they can go over the page. And then this one was cut down, and also this one was cut down. You've seen me make this one. So 4 are done. They're going into a special box. Plus I made another 2, of course, that have already gone into the journal. So I'm happy with this. I'm ready to move on. So let's move on. And of course, in the true nature of one thing leads to another, we're gonna make a project using the scraps. So let's get out some scraps. We can do this. I'm gonna make it really simple for you and give you a formula. Choose 4 scraps from your stash. I know I'm choosing more. That's because I want to make more than one of the thing I'm about to show you. Okay, so this is how we're going to keep this very underwhelming. It's not going to be overwhelming, which it can be. Choose 4 scraps from your stash. Here are my 4 scraps. Next, think of an L shape. Keep this in your mind. You want an L shape. It can be this way. It can be this way. It can be this way or this way. I might make all 4 of them. I'm going to start with this one. You're probably thinking, oh, what's this fun thing? And it's really not that, it's not that amazing or anything, but All right, arrange your scraps in an L shape, like that. And, I just got to do this. I'm going to ink the edges. This is such a cool scrap busting project that you have all 100% seen before. You have probably made these before, but perhaps you've never thought about it in this way, where you give yourself a formula to follow, and therefore you don't have to do any thinking whatsoever. Because when the possibilities are endless and the choice is vast, we get stuck and we get overwhelmed. So this is just to help with that. Now what I'm going to do is start gluing them down. I am going to use my sewing machine. If you are not going to use your sewing machine, you have to glue them down better than this. Okay, so that's my first L shape done. I'm gonna do this one next. Those in my scraps, I'm gonna go with this one. I'm perhaps going with things that go somewhat. They don't have to go. Anything goes. Decision is made. Ink. I might want this one slightly shorter. Now I chose to use 4 scraps just because it was just a random number I chose. You can choose 7 scraps. Say you want to use 7 scraps. That can be your thing. You make up your mind. I'm gonna glue this one right away and glue this one. Well, isn't that just fabulous? Not really, actually, but it will be. All right, we've done those L's. Now I shall do this one. And now you know the drill. See how it's not looking anything special at the moment? Keep that in mind. And next one, the last one I'm going to do is this one. I'm doing it this way because I just want to demonstrate how you can smash this. You can smash it out when you have a plan. You have the L, you have the 4, and then you just smash them out. We're mess making and we're scrap busting. And let's say you're making a Christmas journal, then you do the exact same thing, but with Christmas papers. And let's just say you're a bit of a rebel and you don't like following any rules and you want to break some rules. Well, I say go wild. Just add that 5th element and all will be better. I'm just kidding. I just want to say you can do whatever you want, you know. The 4 elements and the L is just a starting point. All of my L's are complete. You can keep going into oblivion with this. Use up all of your scraps. But here we go. L this way, L this way, and then we have L this way and L this way. What is this? What is this colon? Okay, where do we go from here? I'll go with the first one. Your final element to finish this piece off is a focal point. I chose my focal points to be postage stamps because I don't want to, there's plenty of other beautiful things. I can go into my stash and pull out like beautiful things like this. No, I'm not going to do that. This was on my desk and it actually goes perfect, but I'm demonstrating a point. You want to choose what's going to be my focal point and use that one focal point on all of the pieces because we want to make it easy. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just working on this one for now. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and this is looking like nothing special at the moment. I didn't glue this down yet. Let's just do that. All right, there's a bit of glue and I'm gonna plop it down. I can do like perfect placement like this so I can go over the edge. Anyway, I'm gonna take this to my sewing machine and do all the stitching and then I'll come back so you can see it, how it looks from this to stitched this. But if you don't want to do sewing machine stuff, you can just go into your stash. You can pull out bling and make it pretty. You can pull out these leftover pieces from 12 by 12. Look at this. You can glue that down. Just add something. What else have I got? I have this clear washi tape. Whatever you have in your stash to add more interest, because right now it's just pieces of paper kind of plopped down together. So this here is before stitching and this is after the stitching. So what do you think? Which one do you prefer? You prefer this one or the non-stitched one? Whatever you prefer is what you do. I like the stitching and I add stitches randomly. I just went here and around and here, but I didn't go around here and now I'm thinking I should have gone around there. No, I'm going to stop that right now. I'm just adding a little bit of stitching. I don't want to overthink. I'm going to go on to the next one and then I will show you what they are. All right, let me show you what I have. I made 9 in total. I have this one and this one and this one. I actually made a mistake. I rebelled and used 2 stamps, but that's not the mistake. The mistake is that I put the stamps upside down, and I wanted this L to be this way. So I'm just gonna cover it with something. And yes, I could just turn it around and have it the other way, but for some reason I had my mind set on the L going this way. So that was number 3. Number 4 you've seen. So these are the ones that we made together. Look how fabulous they look. Oh, maybe even we can even do something like these. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we have those 4. And then just to give you some more inspiration, again, exactly the same thing. 4 pieces and a stamp. 4 pieces and a stamp. 1, 2, 3, 4 stamp. Then you can have random shapes. It doesn't have to be an L. It doesn't have to, you can do whatever you want. 1, 2, 3, 4 stamp. Just keeping it nice and simple. 1, 2, 3, 4 stamp. And last one is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of paper and a stamp. This one's a little bit fancy, and like I said, I have 9 in total, and this on its own just looks so fabulous and inspiring, to me at least. So now I'm going to choose one, and finally I'm going to show you what I'm going to use these for. But I think that you can work it out probably. I think I'm going to use this one because I wanted something slightly different placement in my journal. So I am going to grab a new page. Here comes a new page for my journal. And actually, now that I've taken this page out, I did have in my mind that I wanted to use a book page, which this is good for going onto pages that you can't write on, because when we put this on a page, we're losing all the writing space. And what's the point of that? For me anyway, I like my journals to be writing journals. So I would put this down onto a book page. Actually, I might do that. All right, so here is a book page, and we love to put book pages into our journals, but what are we going to do with it in a journal? You can't write on it. Okay, so that's the reasoning behind my thinking here. I'm going to shorten it so that it fits in my journal. Look what I've done. Well, now that I've done that, I'm thinking that I might as well have this the same size. That might be actually quite a fun idea. Rather than having it the same size as my journal pages, I can have it the same size as my thing over here. Can you believe this? 3 times I go to use my cutter, and 3 times that happens. So now that we've cut down a book page, I'm thinking, you know what I'm thinking, one thing leads to another kind of thing, that perhaps next project can involve book pages. I just want to say, actually, we might do that actually. I have so many ideas, but I just want to say I have a full video, and in fact I have a playlist as well. Let's talk about the video first. Well, we're not going to talk about it. I'm just going to mention it. I have a full video on all the projects that you can make with book pages. So a video devoted to just book pages. But, you know, you might not want to go and watch that video. So we shall do something with book pages in this video. Why not? All right, here we go. I'm going to glue this down onto the page. I hope this isn't like a great big disappointment. I hope you weren't thinking this whole time, oh, what is that going to be? And now you're like, oh, it's just a tuck spot. Ooh, it's a tuck spot. Yeah, you disappointed? I'm not. I have 9 of them made, all ready to go into journals. See that? Oh, it's a tuck spot. It transforms a boring book page into something that we can use. Oh, but you know, why not? Why not have 2 tuck spots in this one journal? What do you think about that? And now, since it is a one thing leads to another kind of a deal, perhaps the next thing from here would be something to put into the pockets. We can put obviously anything into the tuck spots, but maybe we can mass make something fun that we can have on hand to tuck into tuck spots in future journals. What do you think about that? Or maybe we can move on to book pages. Or should we do both? Let's do both. All right. Things for tuck spots and pockets and stuff. let's make it real simple. But before we do that, since we are, after all, building a journal here, we have to pop this into the journal. We only have 2 pages so far, but look at all this goodness. Oh, this is going to be so sweet. And all these are going into the special box. For our next element, do we want to make things simple or complicated? Oh, did I hear someone say complicated? Oh, no, no, mon ami. Not here at Treasure Books. First thing you're going to need is your packaging paper. And I know you're keeping some somewhere. Don't pretend. Don't even pretend. But if you are not keeping some somewhere, then just grab any paper. We are going to mass make one thing, but it's going to serve 2 purposes. I'm not going to keep you in the dark. You'll know shortly what we're doing. Okay, packaging paper, element number 1. We need 4 elements. Second element is going to be something. I am going to use music paper. You can use book pages. Just choose one, music paper or book pages. Don't complicate it. Element number 3 is some lace. All right, you can use lace like this, you can use tulle, you can use whatever this is, curtain, you can use an old curtain. Whatever you have that's lacy and kind of pretty. It doesn't even have to be pretty, just any type of material. And the 4th element, we need some images. Get a book that you're hacking into, I know you've got one, and pull out some images. They don't have to be anything special. They can be like nature. They can be from magazines, pictures of flowers and whatnot. I find it really difficult when there's like an image that I like, but then on the other side, there's also an image that I like. So that's decisions. Oh, this is a good one. And there's nothing on the back, then I don't feel bad. Preferably just choose one book, but I did pull another book out just because there were not enough images in the other book that I could cut out. One thing I'm looking for is straight edges like this rather than ovals like this. So I'm looking for squares. So I wouldn't be using fussy cut images for this project. Oh wow, look at this page. Okay, that's enough. Here's what we're gonna do. Go ahead and cut out your images. You might even have a box of already cut out images ready to go. I know I do. I could have just easily pulled out those images, but then you wouldn't be able to see my Speedy Gonzales cutting skills, would you? Watch this. See how fast I am at cutting? I know, it's a special skill that I have. I'm just a Speedy Gonzales cutter, what can I say? Alrighty, all of the images are cut and they can go onto a little pile. Plop it over there. Grab your 3rd element, which was the music page or book page, and start ripping. We don't want any straight edges here, so just rip away. Okay, they're all ready. We will have to ink the edges. Well, we don't have to, but I'm gonna ink the edges and I'm not gonna do it right away. You might choose to ink the edges right away. Next thing we need is the base. This is going to be my base, and I want my pieces to be approximately this size. And of course, no straight edges. Not under my watch, no. This one's all curved and stuff, doesn't matter, it's all good. All right, here's what we're gonna do. So the paper, the base paper you want to choose, I'm obviously using this packaging paper, but it has to be, because we're making a journaling spot first to tuck into those tuck spots, it has to be something that you can write on. That's the idea anyway. Okay, next I am going to ink the edge. Next, I'm gonna grab a piece from my pile. We're going with the music page. Plop that on somewhere. We might even, we're not gonna overthink this, remember? You might wanna go ahead and glue it down straight away. I'm just plopping down a little bit of glue because I am gonna sew. That's just what I do. But if you're not gonna sew, just glue it down. Next thing we're gonna do is grab some lace. Maybe like cut it down so it's not straight. And you can have a small piece. We can just do a tiny little bit of lace. We can do whatever we want, remember? All right, that's all we have now. Choose an image. What image am I gonna go for? I'm just gonna choose anything. Should I go for this one or should I go for this one? Well, I suppose I'm going to use all of them up. Of course, I'm not going to bore you with making it on screen. We're just going to make this first one on screen. Maybe I'll go for this larger one. Just plop a bit of glue and plop it down. And that's all we're going to do. 4 layers. It doesn't look like nothing much. No, it doesn't, but it's gonna when it's part of a whole. All right, so I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. It would be nice to do white stitch on this, but I have black stitch in my sewing machine, so I'm just not going to change it. Here we go. And here it is sewn. Obviously, the stitching is keeping all of our 4 pieces together. And this is going to be too big to tuck into that tuck spot. So what else can we do with it? I'll show you in a moment. But if you want, you can be a little bit fancy and you can add a bit of stenciling. I shall allow it. You do whatever you darn well please. So if this is a little bit underwhelming at the moment, it won't be when you see like 20 of them made. All right, so if we want to use it as a journaling spot and we want to tuck it into a pocket or a tuck spot that we have going on, obviously it has to be small enough to fit in there, and this is quite large. So the second idea that I have for these, and you've probably seen me use this type of stuff a million times before, is, all right, this isn't the best example, but this is a journal that I made a long time ago, well before my YouTube days. And this is a good example because I can remove this whole thing. This is removable. And now I have this cover, and look at how beautiful this looks on a journal cover. So we're making a journal topper, I suppose. Okay, listen. It's not looking that great, I will admit. You know, it's kind of too big sticking out and all this whiteness underneath, but you know what I mean. Let's just grab a scrapbook paper, pretend this is my journal cover, and then look at this. It's just, you know, I think it's pretty fabulous. I don't know about you, but I say let's make some more. But before we do, and I'm going to make most of them off screen, I'm going to add this onto a page, just a page that I pulled out before, and I'm going to add it to my journal because I don't see why not. I'm building a journal after all, right? Okay, in it goes. All right, let's do one more together, and then I'll do all the others all by my lonesome self. Come back and show you all the prettiness. I think that's a pretty good idea. All right, we are ripping next piece, a music page or a book page. Ink those edges. If you like the stenciling idea, just go ahead and stencil. Glue that baby down anywhere. Grab your curtain, perhaps not the one hanging. Plop it down and grab an image. You see, watch this. This will work. This will work. This will work. This can be a good journal topper. It's quite large, so the large pieces definitely journal toppers. Clearly I've been talking too much because I'm losing my voice. Perhaps that's a subtle sign from heavens above. For goodness sake, stop talking. All right then. Fine, be like that. Plop a bit of glue. Plop it down anywhere. Oh, I don't like, maybe not anywhere. Maybe find a place where you like it. Take it to your sewing machine. And bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Done. Right? Quick, easy, simple, as long as you're not overthinking and choosing the perfect thing and the perfect lace and the perfect thread. Just go, plop it down, glue it down. It's going to look fabulous as part of a whole rather than just looking at this one thing. We can get stuck on minor details. Well, I can. I don't know, when I say we do this, we do that, I'm really talking about myself. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, oh, you know, maybe like red thread would have been nice. Or perhaps I could have cut this lace a little bit more fancy and could have kept this flower in there kind of thing, you know. If I have it up here, maybe I can glue something there, make it. You see where I'm going with this? We can make it better, but there's no need. Because, like I said, once it's part of a whole book full of interactive and beautiful things, it just looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous on covers. It looks gorgeous in pockets and tucked as and glued. You can glue this thing down as a... I am talking way too much. I need to slow down. Too many things are coming to me all at once. I'm just going to say this one last thing. If you're using it as a journaling spot and you have, people often ask, what do you use tags for in a journal? Or what would you journal on this? Personally, this is what I would do. I would use this section to journal. I might write in there a motivational thing of the day. For example, no one can sing my song better than me. It's a quote that I heard and I have it kind of stuck on my desk. It's a reminder that we're all, individual and special in our own way and all that kind of thing. But it's a reminder when we worry. Did I say this right? Did I do this right? Should I film that video? Should I try and sell my journals kind of thing, okay? Another thing, Bible journaling, for example. That's not my kind of thing, but it might be yours. And just having little sections like this, it can be like a gratitude kind of thing. Today I'm grateful for blah, blah, blah. You know where I'm going with this. So just like you constrain yourself with 4 pieces to build a thing, the same goes for writing. When you constrain yourself, and when you see this, you can very easily fill it. However, when you see this, a whole blank page, go and write something. It's like, what do I write? I don't want to ruin the page, the pristine white paper, and there's just so much, right? What am I grateful for? Imagine having to write all of this for all the things you're grateful for every day. Impossible. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish all of them off screen, come back and show you all the abundance of, what are we calling them? Journaling spots, journal toppers, pocket tuckers. I have no idea, but it's nice to have them in your stash. Trust me. And I'm going to make large and I'm going to make small. Obviously, the large images are going to go into large pieces. And then we have tiny little images. You know what the deal is. I'll go and do this. I'll be back probably tomorrow and there's no end. I'll see you then. And I'm back. I made 13 journaling spots and or journal toppers. And I'll just show you what I have just to get you inspired. This can be a journal topper. That's a journaling spot. This one can even be a pocket because it's oriented this way, so I can do something this way. And I didn't actually end up using all of my images, so I'm going to use them in the next project. This is going to be a journal topper, and then this one I made on screen. You've seen this one. Okay, excellent. These are my images left over. I'm gonna do something with these next, but first, bringing in the journal that I'm building, I might just pop some things into the tuck spots because that's what I made them for after all. This one I might move onto this page in here. Perfect. And then perhaps for this one, I'm gonna pop in this little piece. Excellent, that's now done and we can move on. These are going to go into my special box of things ready made. And now we can move on to the next project. So I did say that I want to use some book pages. So I'm just gonna grab some book pages from here, preferably something with just writing and no images. And again, we're going to keep it really simple. So we just need 3 elements for this one. We need the book pages, we need something on top, some image, and then we need something else like this, maybe some trim or lace or ribbon, anything decorative like that. I just picked this one out. I'm just going to stick with this one thing. I'm not going to go, pulling things out of my stash. So that's it. I'm ready to go. Now, I just want to mention, I did say that I made a video using book pages. In fact, I used a whole book for that video and I made 25 different projects. I'm going to insert here a little snippet from that video just to whet your appetite. Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. And if you like what you see, I'm going to link that video down below in the description box, and you can have a look at it at another time if you need more book page ideas. But today we're doing something different. We're keeping it simple and we're just gonna go for it. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. This is gonna be real simple and quick, which is what mess making is all about. Book page in hand, I'm gonna fold it like this. Perfect. Then I'm not even going to worry about this edge over here, but I want to have this edge ripped. And now when I fold it, I can see if anything is sticking out. I might just rip this down a little bit. Excellent. Ink the edge. We just really need this front one inked. And then if these back ones are picking out, we can give that a little bit of an ink too, and ink the sides. Next thing we're going to do is grab an image. I'm just going to plop a little bit of glue down just to keep it in place because I am going to sew. But if you're not going to sew, then you can just glue the whole thing down. Just like this. Don't overthink it. Don't add layers. Don't do collage. Well, you can if you want to. But if you want to mass make, which is what I'm doing, I'm going to do 13 or however many I said. I can't remember. I want it to be quick. I'll do a couple more on screen and then I'll do the rest off screen. So for now, I'm just preparing them. Rip that edge, fold, ink the top and the sides, grab an image and glue it down. Next, rip, fold, ink, choose an image, glue it down. You can do straight, you can do askew. I'm going to do this one maybe just like this. And I'll do one more on screen. Rip, fold, ink, choose an image and glue down. I will keep going this way in true mess making style, but I'm just going to finish one completely so that you can see what we're doing. Okay, which one should I do? Let's do this one. So now, before I've glued anything down, I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and sew around the image. I think that the stitching, obviously, I probably said that a million times already in this video, it adds beauty, character, and it just adds that extra element in general. As you probably noticed, because I've been stitching on every project. If you don't want to stitch, then just glue your thing down. It's fine. All right, I'm taking this to my sewing machine, and I'll take you on the ride with me. Why not? We're just sewing around the image. And of course, the machine wants to be crazy. Look at that. All right, start again. I removed those messed up stitches and I'm just gonna start from here. There we go. That'll do. All right, let's do one properly. Hopefully no messed up stitches. There we go, much better. And now I ran out of thread. That's the third thing that's gone wrong today. But all is well that ends well, right? Right, we shall keep that positive mindset. So here's what I have so far. And now what I'm going to do is get rid of all the threads. So I usually like to chop off the front threads first and then pull on the back threads and then chop them off. So I'll show you why. If I chop the front threads off and then pull on the back, it brings those little bits on the inside. I probably should have back stitched, but I didn't because we're not thriving for perfection over here. I think that's acceptable. All right, threads are removed and now we shall do this. A little bit of glue onto this flap, just a little line of glue, and also a little bit of glue over here. And then close. Next, a little bit of glue over here and a little bit of glue over here. Next, production line is the way to go. You can have a stash of ready-made things truly in no time. Excellent. Okay, so now we have like this little thing happening, right? You can glue the thing, the bottom down as well if you want, but in comes the third element. This isn't very nice, is it? But it's what I have chosen for this, and I think it's going to look nice overall as part of a bigger thing. And now what we're going to do, I'm going to cut myself about this much, and I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew this on, and that's also in turn going to close this little thing, a little pocket type thing that I have something in mind for this. All right, if you don't want to sew, then of course you would glue this down at the previous step, and then you can glue something else on. And back to the sewing machine we go. I might do a back stitch on this one and back stitch again, and done. And now I'm going to get rid of the thread, and I might shorten these but kind of leave them slightly longer on the sides. I don't know, just like that look. And that's one completely done. All right, 4 are done, and I'm going to do the rest off screen, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what I had in mind for these. I have made 12 in total, and to be honest with you, it was very quick. It really doesn't take a lot of time, and they look so beautiful, and I'm so happy that I now have all of this in my stash. So now I'm going to choose my favorite one. I can't actually decide out of these 3 which one is my favorite one. I think I'll go for this one. And this is what I had in mind for these. I would like to use this on actual book pages in journals, like for example this. And I think I want to clip it onto the page. And then inside here, I want to have journaling space. So I can either do that by taking a piece of paper, folding it down, plopping it in. I mean, we can put anything in there, tags or whatever. Or I was thinking something like this. I have some notepads and stuff like that, and I think this would look quite nice. Say for example, this is a to-do list, put it in there like that. Or this is just like a notepad, maybe ink the edges. Here we go. Put a few in there, and then I would like to have it kind of off the page so that the lace or whatever you put on there is peeking out, because I did that in the previous signature. In the previous video, we have things kind of peeking out and peeking this way and up this way, so that's the kind of thing I'm going for. So I'm just thinking, I don't really like how this looks. So since I'm building a journal and I now only have 3 pages in there, I'm gonna come in with another page, and this is a coloring book page that's been tea dyed. I tea dyed a bunch of coloring book pages a while ago, so I have them ready. And now I can add this onto this side, and then there's writing on the other side. So essentially, you know, this can be colored and whatnot. And then we've added writing space. Maybe we can use nicer paper clips. Maybe the next thing that we make is some nice paper clips. That's an idea. One thing leading to another. What do we think about that? You have to let me know, because I think we have done enough for this video. We have covered 5 ideas, which is what I set out to do. So I'm not sure if I should keep going or if we should save the rest for the next session. You have to let me know. But I do like the idea of altered paper clips. I think I'm going to pop this on this side. Yeah, this is where it's going to live for now. I think as a whole, it's going to look great. Here are my 2 signatures ready to go. Well, I would like to add more pages to this signature. This, of course, isn't done. We're still going. Plenty of ideas to cover. Here we go. I think it looks a little bit more striking when the pockets are filled. So now that while I was doing this and inking the edges and stuff like that, I was thinking, I don't think I really want to do like altered paper clips and stuff like that, because I am building a journal and we're mass making and we're doing it together. I want to build the actual journal, and then like those little things, paper clips and things, I don't know. I mean, what would you like to see? Do you want me to continue and to go into the 3rd session of mess making and building a journal? You have to let me know. I'd love to complete this together with you guys, but I could just do it all by my lonesome self and then show you when it's finished. So we can do that too. Let me know your preference. Okay, let's recap in today's video. We did these. I think we're kind of going backwards here. Then we did journaling spots and journal toppers. And then we had this scrap busting tuck spots and what did I call them? I can't remember. I'm not even going to try and name all these things. Then we did this playing card element, and I think this has to be my very favorite project of the day. Please let me know your favorite project of the day. And then of course we did these bookmarks that flip out, or rather, you know what the deal is. You watch the video. We can clip them onto the page and we can open them up, and fun. So that's pretty cool. That's a lot of stuff. And this is all the stuff that we made in the previous video. This was supposed to be my special box, but of course it's not all gonna fit in here. I'm gonna have to find a different special box. So that first video is linked below if you haven't seen it and you want to watch it. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Please let me know again if you want me to continue. Shall we go into part 3? I don't really like to call them like part 1, part 2, part 3 because they're independent. You don't have to see part 1 to kind of do part 2. But if you're building a journal with me, then if you want to do the same things as I'm doing, then it's nice to have a little series going. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video, whatever that may be. Bye.